Good afternoon. Thank you again just for your presence and as you continue to update the public on this very important matter. Just a couple updates and I'll turn it over to Chief McConnell. Right now we have about 7 vehicles left in the parking garage that we are working on that right now, but that's the last of those vehicles we reported on yesterday evening and even this morning. In addition to that, we have now all documents from the offices, contractual offices that were located on the site. All documents have been removed and secured by OSHA as well as the New Orleans Police Department. It is in some type of a bin with padlocks on it, I'm told, and it is being secured, and you all know that will be used in the forthcoming investigations, but I wanted to keep you updated in that on that matter. Search and extraction is going to be the next priority. That is after phase 1. We will be utilizing the support of our National Guard, who has a team of 100, and this is exactly what they do. I have to say, after attending the funeral services of Mr. Anthony and his family this morning, being with the family, it just solidified the importance of our work to ensure that we do everything possible to remove our 2 victims that are still on site. At this time, I'm going to turn it over again to Chief McConnell for more updates. Chief?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you've been out at the scene, you've seen the cranes are up in the air, they're working, but you also see the wind picking up, and that's causing them some issues. The proximity they are to those cranes and the buckets, coming in contact with it. But they're up there, they're continuing to work. They will work so long as it is safe. And the goal, once again, has not changed. The objective is to get these down as quick as possible, and we'll continue doing that once again, so long as it is safe. We're mitigating all the other things that could happen. You're seeing matting go down the street, so to be prepared if something were to go awry. We talk about the cranes coming down exactly in place, but we obviously want to prepare in case anything else happens. So you see matting going down the street, you see an RTA take down some of their wiring. So this is moving forward. Entergy has been great. They're getting all the utilities shut off, and we're hoping to get this done as soon as possible.
Thank you, Chief. Colin, any other updates you want to give?
We were fortunate enough to receive an in-person weather briefing from the National Weather Service just now. We do have a tropical storm Nestor. However, more fortunately, it continues to track a little bit east. I would still say, though, we are talking about the 200-foot above surface level winds potentially could be around 35, gusting 35. So that possibility is still there. We're still monitoring that very closely, but we do feel comfortable in continuing our activation here and backing off a little on the tropical weather activation. We'll still be monitoring the winds either way. Please follow us at NOLA Ready, ready.nola.gov for all of the information about the controlled demolition that's going to take place tomorrow. You can text Hard Rock, one word, to 888-777, and you will receive updates as we send them. We've talked about all week how dynamic and how fluid this entire incident has been, and it's going to continue to be that way. So that will be your best source of information, right to the minute, to the second even, and that's what we're talking about right now. Sometimes seconds, things change. And also I want to hit on the fact that 311 is a great resource for all of this. If you have any type of issues, if you're in the affected area, if you're an affected business, vehicles, please call 311. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That really concludes our updates, but we'll take questions as we always do.
Madam Mayor, the advocate.
Mayor, an attorney says that one of the men who was working in the building has been detained by immigration authorities and is facing deportation. Do you have any comment on that situation?
Sir, actually, that's the first I've heard of that, and I'll learn more about it after this briefing.
WWL.
Tim, can you just describe a little more about how this is going to happen in terms of the boom and the weights coming down? It's always sounds like sort of an umbrella kind of closing. Is that?
I guess that's a good way to describe it. I won't use the term melting anymore.
Please.
But it is one term that was used by them is this stuff's very resilient. It's because the job it's meant to do, and it's kind of like spaghetti. It's not going to snap or break, and it is on some pins that allow it to flex. And so they're going to cut some cables. When I say cut, they're using the material, this explosives to do that. And yeah, those are going to swing down, and then they're going to have some more that will cut it lower. And the idea is those come down and make impact with the tower, just drop it down.
And are there charges on the towers as well, or just on the weight?
I'm sorry, say
Are there
that again?
charges on the tower as well?
Yes, there's some on the tower and there's some on each of the booms. And the goal is to bring it down right where it is and stay in the same location and move from there.
Associated Press, followed by WDSU.
And this, the work to plant these small explosives and prepare it, I mean, do you have to stop at night, presumably, or do you keep?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The wind is our biggest problem, and not even rain. They'll work through the rain. They're obviously not going to work with lightning, but the wind is really the thing. These people, you can see if you look at it, it's a very precarious situation. These engineers are in doing what they're doing, and we're very thankful that they're here and willing to take on this job. There was nobody else capable and knowing the risk of it. So I won't say there was nobody else, but I mean we looked at other people, and these were the best ones that we found, and that they're here doing it is a tribute to them. It's a risky job. Look how high up they are right now.
WDSU.
Chief, I know you said earlier in the press conference kind of an estimate about group, but do you have now a better time frame
The wind is starting to cause us some issues, and so our timeline may move back. I hope what I communicated was the earliest we could see it happening was noon, but unfortunately we can't give you a better time because we're not in control of that. We will work as much as we can to make sure we can do it safely, so long as we can do it, as quick as we can, as safe as we can.
But noon would be the earliest?
Noon would be the earliest, but that's looking harder and harder to meet with the wind we have.
It's picking up.
Fox 8.
Mayor, can you talk about the role that the National Guard is playing here in New Orleans in this controlled demolition?
Well, the role that they're playing is really being extremely supportive and pretty much on an on-call position. Whatever it is that the city of New Orleans needs, they're standing by and ready. One of the real benefits that I've recently learned from General Curtis on yesterday, again, is this crew who is skilled in search and extraction. And as you can imagine, that just really grabbed my heart, because the focus is still on ensuring that we get the two remains from that site and return to their loving families.
And can you elaborate on the kinds of documents that have been preserved? How many documents?
Oh, I have no idea. It's a lot of them. Chief, you can talk about it.
I can't comment on the kind, but I can tell you every single document, computer, book, anything that was in that building that would have been of a recordation of the job, blueprints, everything
Maps.
was recorded, where it was located, whose office. They have temporary offices, right? They build up plywood. It's all collected and put into boxes that were, recorded the location it came from, the pictures, the way you collect evidence. And we do it every day, right? He does it every day, and put into a locked storage container, and then take it to a secure facility, like the police do with their evidence every day.
That's right. And not,
Those things aren't strange for us.
That's
it was
right.
a lot more than we normally collect, but it was evidence collection.
and
Who's
not
heading up the
collected-
investigation?
Not collected as trash, as evidence.
WWL, followed by WGNO, and then the Advocate.
This may be more for Colin, but if you can explain for viewers the difference between the evacuation zone and exclusion zone, and what are people going to expect tomorrow in each of those zones?
Evacuation zone is absolutely nobody in there. Exclusion zone is no pedestrians, no vehicles outside. They have to remain outside of that. The current collapse area or evacuation area that we have has been sufficient all week, and even when we found out about the Alpha crane, the one closest to Canal, being in bad shape, which we thought it was a little bit more stable than the Charlie crane, our area was still wide enough. We had a good estimation. Tomorrow, it's going to bump out a little bit, and we actually walked the entire perimeter with both the contractors, including the explosives contractor, the demolition contractor, and the explosive specialist. They indicated to us an area, and we even went a little larger than that just to be sure. And so what we would ask is that this is going to be, and Chief talked about it, it's going to be really quick. And the downtime from it is maybe an hour or two at the most. So we just want the public's cooperation with this. If you're in the area in the French Quarter and you're asked to leave, say, your hotel or your residence, go get a drink, watch it on TV. Okay? Go to a movie. If you're outside, be aware that there's going to be a loud noise. If you are in line of sight of this, you're too close. Okay? And if you are outside, we're not encouraging. We know people's tendency is to want to spectate. We're trying to tell you not to do that, but if you are out there, cover your ears. Everyone out there is going to be wearing ear protection, eye protection. We'll have masks with us. Some people have hard hats. I plan on being undercover or indoors. I think the public should do the same thing. And then as soon as possible, and like I said, if you text Hard Rock to 888-777, we're going to give an all clear, and you can go about your day.
WGNO.
You mentioned going door to door. When will that start taking place?
That will start about 4 hours before we get it goes off. So once they tell us this is when we're going to be able to do it, in other words, we anticipate we'll be finished in 4 hours, then we'll start the door to door. And once again, 15 minutes after they're ready, we plan on doing it. So they're going to try and estimate as they start, once again, this wind thing, right? Once they figure, okay, we got about 4 hours left to work, that's when we're going to start doing it. Police, fire are all ready to start doing that.
And I'd add too, we're a special event city, we're a tourism city. We have an amazing network with our hotels. And so there are some affected hotels in that area. We've been in contact with them and their security managers. And they are doing great work at accommodating their guests and preparing for this. And they've been extremely flexible because, we were trying to do this today and now we're doing this tomorrow. So it's just been it's been a really good communication all the way around, and we're going to do that same communication on a more individual basis with businesses and residences that may be affected.
Chief Mayor, I've had a couple of people ask me already today. They're already pushing it back to Saturday. What's the rush now? Why does it need to be on Saturday?
Because it seems like they're implying with that question that it was the weather that was making us take it down. It wasn't. Long before that storm developed in the Gulf, when it was just an investigation, right, an invest, right, with the National Weather Service, we were talking about this on Saturday and Sunday last week, about this being dangerous and coming down. That hasn't changed. It's only gotten worse. And as that steel structure rubs against that concrete, it only gets weaker and weaker. It is not designed to do that. I said that earlier. So it's just as urgent as it was then, if not more so. The weather just made it that much worse. So the rush is exactly as it was 5-6 days ago.
Right, but Chief, the wind has always been a concern of ours, regardless of any tropical storm or not.
Right.
And we've been consistent in that
messaging. We're getting a lot of wind tonight.
That's exactly right.
Got lucky, but I'm sorry, you did ask about the investigation. It's OSHA is headed up, but with NOPD, you have 2 or 3 unclassified deaths. So you'll see where the investigation. Going on since the start, and it progresses more and more.
Are we at the point where after, obviously we need to wait till the cranes come down?